set the world record for death dive on 31 meters. What I didn't know is how high can you hit the water before you die? It's like a car crash. You go out in the woods bare feet and then you roar for a little bit and you run and then you have a buddy over and you fight in the woods and you throw axes.
Ken Stornes, welcome to the Downrange Podcast. We appreciate you being here. I'm Eric Snethkamp. This is my partner, Donnie Klein, and we've been trying to get you on for a little while. I know you're a busy guy. In fact, some cool news about some things that you've had going on recently. But first, where are you today?
So actually right now I'm at my home. I just got home. So I've been... I haven't slept for like 32 hours because of like night shifts and then shit has to be done. And then I had to do my workout and I just got home from my workout. So I basically just got through the door.
Which city in Norway?
I live in Elverum. It's a small city in like the southeast. But I'm born and raised in the north. If you heard about any towns in Norway, you probably heard about Lofoten and seen pictures from like the mountains up there. That's pretty close to where I grew up.
Is it just mandatory that if you're from Norway that you're comfortable jumping in ice water?
I wish. That would be cool. I think you're comfortable with the winter at least.
How did that start? Are you a Wim Hof aficionado or fan? Have you studied any Wim Hof, or did you just grow up jumping in ice water and decide to throw in some axes with it?
So I've heard about Wim Hof and I've tried like breathing techniques and stuff like that, but my philosophy has always been like when it comes to hard things, like being in ice cold water or intense workouts or being in the desert or whatever it is, like hard things, it's just mental. I don't think there's like a secret breathing technique or secret this and secret that can make you do all these things. I think you just do them. And then, yes, it sucks, but you do it anyway. And so for me, like being out in the cold water and stuff, it's just, people ask me often, how do I work up to like going out into the cold, and how do you train for it, and how do you like endure it? And there's zero training for it. It's just you jump in and then you deal with it. That's how it is.
How long were you staying in the water, like when you go in?
So normally, like when it began, I just combined like cliff diving and the snow because it's just a way to evolution or like to do something new. But lately I've actually been doing cold plunges. And then I do, depending on how cold it is outside, I do like 1 to 3 minutes. I've been doing gymnastics or tricking and parkour for the last 20 years. And it was just me and the boys on a summer day, just trying to, okay, let's do this into some water. And then we started just low and simple, trying to do flips. And it just evolved from there, I guess. Like 3 years ago, I saw this Norwegian guy, Emil Lybek. He did something called a death dive or a Duts. And that was the first time I've ever seen it. And he did a 27-meter Duts, which was the world record at the time. And I was like, fuck, this is high, but it looks doable. So I just tried to train for it and just worked my way up. And then I set, like 3 years ago, like a year after, I set the world record for death dive on 31 meters. And then I was like, back then we wasn't sure if it was possible to go higher. But slowly but surely, it kept going higher. And I just, yeah.
Like, how do you get yourself ready to say, all right, here, like I'm ready for this, and this might be the last time I'm jumping? Because it's one thing to jump, right? It's another thing to be in the cold, and it's another thing to do it with axes, right? Like you do.
For the 40-meter dive, the latest world record, it was The hard part about it was not the technical side. I mean, a classic death dive is pretty simple if you have some form of movement type training, like gymnastics or whatever. It's pretty simple to do. But what we didn't know, and what I didn't know, is how high can you hit the water with that technique before you simply like break or die? Because
Mhm.
it's not like when you jump with your feet first and you go down like a spike in the water and you go far down. With the death dive, you come down like that and then you expand like a bullet because you literally can't hold your arms and hands, your arms and feet, so you expand. And so the the deceleration from your max speed to zero is really short. It's like a few meters. And at some point, like your internal organs, it's like a car crash. Your internal organs get to a point where it just gets fucked up. So that was the best case scenario for me in my head, was that I did everything perfect, but something on the inside would just rip to shreds. The worst case scenario was that I would like fuck up the jump and land on my side and land on my back or whatever, and that would be like, it would be instant death.
So, what was the result of that one? I mean, that was the world record. You said that you're getting close to what you think may be the limit. How did you feel when you hit the water then?
I was actually surprised, not when I hit the water, but when I realized that I wasn't injured. I was actually surprised. I was like, "Fuck, I'm alive," and that was my real reaction underwater. I was like, "Damn, that went well."
Does that mean a higher jump's coming?
Oh, maybe if I have better training for it. This all happened fast because there's one other guy in the world. He's in France. He's an awesome guy. Um, and I knew he wanted to be the first man in the world to go over 40 meters. And here in Norway, it's like wintertime, so everything freezes. Every training possibility outside in freezes to ice. So my training possibilities wasn't really there. But but I decided to do it anyway. I was like, I got it. I can just do. I can do this. I can do this. But I think if I have really good training for 6 months time, I think maybe I can go higher.
There was some heavy weight around in some of your videos lifting people, like from
Yeah.
like a kettlebell movement. What are some other regiments, that you like to try and train?
Well, it's kind of been different throughout the last, I don't know, 2 decades of training, but I tried to have like strength type training as a ground, like as my foundation. I also like to just keep it as foundation because you want to be able to move and do other stuff on top of it. So I do strength training, and then I do grappling, jiu-jitsu, and I do gymnastics. I do like death diving of cliff diving. I even do some like, have you acrobatics, like acro or partner stunts, like what do you call it? It's like almost cheerleading, like when you lift people.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do stuff like that
yeah.
too.
Acro yoga, right?
Acro, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well,
combine
you
all
do
parts.
jujitsu. You mentioned jujitsu. I didn't know that I saw that you did jujitsu. You know, Donnie and I have been doing jujitsu for many years, and
Awesome.
I'm here in Austin, Texas, which is now like the jujitsu capital of the United States.
Yeah, just to
How
do.
do you like jujitsu? How's your training over there?
Oh, I having so much fun with it. I competed in 2018 in ADCC in like
Oh yeah,
Norway, and I got second place in that one in intermediate. But then
nice.
Corona
Yeah.
happened, and I guess there was no competition after that. But I'm trying to get back in it now.
The catapult with the axe. How did that come about? Where'd you get the catapult?
There's this one guy in Norway who has designed this catapult, and he just drives it around to different festivals and stuff, and let people shoot themselves out of it. So it was just completely by chance,
And you had your axes with you, of course.
of course.
I think the most popular of all the videos, which we'll show here, is the one with the 2 axes diving into the waterfall with all the snow around it.
I wanted to go out and death dive in the winter, but you can only do it that much times before it's kind of boring. So I was like, I want to do something different. I never tried death dive with something in my hands before. And the axes were there, and I was like, let's just bring them, see what happens. And,
was it? You ended up okay? Didn't cut yourself? Didn't hurt yourself?
No, good, all good. So good. Lost one axe though.
What is your daily life like daily routine?
So I try to have kind of routine, but it's not that much. My life is starting to be more chaotic at the moment because I go everywhere and do a lot of things. But things I do have in my life that I need to have is like I need my training. That is pretty much every day. And I take trips with my dog. That is every day. Apart from that, it's just adventure. Grab a friend and you just get in the car and then you go somewhere you haven't gone, or find a river you haven't seen, or go to a deep forest you haven't been to, and just explore and have fun, really. I might go to Finland very soon. I'm going to do some high jumps into snow. And there's a plan of me doing some death diving off like a glacier into water. So that's coming up soon. I'm working on like a training app or something, and then at some point I want to have like this. I want to have some land outside in the woods where I can host these retreats and take people out to do stuff I like to do, really. And yeah, that's probably the plan. So if I can one day just live from having people over and doing awesome things, that would be amazing.
Hey, come hang out with me and let's set world records off of jumping off of cliffs.
Fuck yeah. Maybe
especially with no axes. Yeah, just be careful of how you land because it can impact your body greatly.
Yeah, I don't advise anyone to jump with axes. It's not smart. Don't do it.
Like looking at your videos and then actually meeting you and having conversation with you, you're pretty chill.
Yeah. I guess it's I guess you kind of have to be. You can't be like maximum effort all the time, I think. So I like this. I guess it's from, I don't know, like this controlled aggression at some points. You just kind of need it as a man. And I'm sure you can relate to it at some point or some form. And it's just that mine turns out to be things you can make cool videos out of. You have to be many different things to like really enjoy life, I think. You can't just be super aggressive all the time and do that, and you can't just be super mellow all the time, and you have to do a lot of different things and try to do them as best as you can every time. And I think a lot of people are missing out on the good things in life when it comes to like being out in nature and just enjoying life, really. So that is pretty much what I do when I'm out there. I'm not out there trying to be something. You go out in the woods bare feet and then you fucking roar for a little bit and you run and then you have a buddy over and you fight in the woods and you throw axes and you just swim upstream or do something like that. Just having fun, being a human out there. And I think a lot of people are missing that in their lives. I think it's way too serious. People take themselves way too serious and everything. Really, just go out there and enjoy it. Just go out and have fun, laugh, roar.
And speaking of those, which out of all of the videos that you have on Instagram and other social media platforms, what are your favorites? Which ones should people really take a look at to get a good taste of what you do and who you are?
So my favorites are probably different from the videos and reels that do really well. Okay. I guess my favorite is the one with my dog when we're just sitting out in the woods. That is probably my favorite. So I have this love for camping outside in Norway in the winter times, and This winter we had a whole month where it was almost minus 30 Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's cold as shit. You need good gear. You can't just go outside. But winter survival is probably something I have had the most love for. I mean, summer, if you're going out in the woods in the summer, you really don't need much. I mean, at least not here in Norway. You can drink from the rivers. You bring your little food, you're fine. Sleep fucking on the ground, it's no problem. So, but winter, that is a whole different animal. That is a lot of training and technique, I guess.
You filmed Naked and Afraid, and your episode airs sometime in the next month or so on the new season. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. It was fun. Oh, well, it wasn't fun, but it was an experience.
Yeah, we just interviewed Jamie Wildman Frizzell again, and Survival Steve, and it turns out he's on the same season as you. And on the last podcast, they were calling you out, said they'd love to see you in Africa in the savannah. I don't know if they knew already or not, and they were just helping build up the intensity. Were you with Steve on your episode, or he was on a different episode?
No, I actually don't think they knew because I didn't know them. So, but I think it was a really funny coincidence.
Anything exceptionally good or exceptionally bad happen that you can tell us about?
Well, I had hoped to eat a bit more than I did, which was nothing.
How much weight did you lose?
16 kilos. That's like, how much is that? Like 35 pounds, 40 pounds?
Yeah.
It's a lot for me. And so I was a skinny bitch when I got home.
What's the process of going through that long term of not eating and working hard at the same time?
Well, I eat a lot of food normally. I eat like 5,000 calories a day. So for me, I got hungry pretty fast. And I guess day 3 was the day I realized, like, this physique that you worked for, it's gonna go to shit. So for me, that was like the first like tough mental day. Was day 3, and I was like, well, it's going now. But after that, it was just like slow, steady, your energy slowly decreasing, but it was fine. It was really fine. So you got used to it. But when it got to like the last day and you're walking out of there, and man, I walked slowly. It was like before I went into the show, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do backflips on the last day. But there was no backflips. I can guarantee you that. It was like just barely hanging on. Thing I've heard a lot, like people, well, if I were on the show, I would just do this and this. I would sit in the top of a tree with a spear and I'd wait till like the thing comes and jump down. And, like, dude, you wouldn't. You would starve.
What's the first thing that you ate when you were done?
So they had like a lot of food. They brought us like this bag of food. So I think a pizza and a Coke was the first thing I ate. But I didn't, stupid as I am, I didn't think about the whole starvation syndrome thing. When you haven't eaten in like 2 weeks, everything is shut off, right? So if you just put a lot of food in your system, that's not good. So I was in a lot of pain right after.
What did you crave most while you were out there?
Just everything.
Everything? Yeah.
Oh my God, so much. But strangely enough, only real food. So it wasn't like craving potato chips or candy and stuff like that. I was craving like steak, potatoes, and fish and stuff like that, but not catfish. Oh my God.
Oh, did you lose a lot of muscle mass, or did you just come home ripped?
So I was ripped when I went there. So it was basically mostly muscle mass.
Came back pretty quick after you got back?
The weight got back like 6 weeks. The weight was back. It went pretty fast. But the strength, I'm still actually struggling with the strength. So those
Do you have any
5%, still haven't gotten them back. I don't know if that's a permanent thing or we'll see.
Do you have any other long-term side effects from it?
I, before I went, my sleep schedule was like non-existent. I'm I'm probably the opposite of like the biohacking type that like, yeah, it's 8 hours of sleep, this and this inside your body, blah blah blah. But I'm like 2 hours of sleep this night, 3 hours that night, five then. It's just chaos, really. And but after I got home from Africa, I'm like, I need 7 hours of sleep, and that is weird. It's never happened before in my life. Like the only thing is different is that I need to sleep more. It's not like I'm more rested. So I'm not sure if that is because I'm getting older or that is because of the starvation thing, but something's happened there. Um, I hadn't even heard about the show before the month before I went. So I didn't apply either. They called me and asked me if I want to do it. So I got this call and they asked if I want to go on this survival show and explain like how it would work. And I was like, fuck yeah, we got nothing else going right now. So why not? And I looked, I saw the first episode with AJ Snyder, I think his name is. So that's the only episode of Naked and Afraid I've ever seen.
Yeah, EJ.
Yeah, EJ.
In fact, EJ, we're interviewing EJ next week.
Oh yeah, say hello for me.
He mentioned you. He said you're an awesome guy.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. That's cool.
Anybody you would not want to survive with? I know you haven't seen too many episodes.
So I don't have like a person in mind, but like I guess someone who it's hard to survive with someone who just complains and does nothing. Someone who's never been in a rough situation and knows how to deal with it. That's just it drags everything down. But I guess I would deal with it. But I mean, I was really lucky the guy I was with first because it was a different type of episode. It was like this tribe episode. So it was like two guys and two women. And we started off separate. So I, to my shock, I expected to meet a woman and I met this dude from Canada. Yeah, it's an awesome guy. Well, yeah.
That's a little awkward.
Yeah, it took a second to readjust there.
If you're invited back on more episodes, which I would imagine you would be, would you prefer like a tribes edition where you're with other people, a group of people, or would you prefer a solo where you're by yourself, or do you like the XL or the last man standing? What kind of dynamic would be your ideal?
So I would want to try a solo one next if that is a thing. I didn't know they had that, but if they have a solo thing, that would be cool to try. You're completely by yourself.
Completely by yourself for 21 days, yeah.
So I was completely by myself for 2 days, and it was also those 2 days where there was like a rainstorm in Africa. So I sat like with my axe underneath a tree in the pouring rain, and it was lightning in the sky, and I was like, "Oh, this is fucking cool." So I think going there alone would be fun, yeah. But I don't know. Everything went so well, so I think tribe would be cool too. Yeah.
Are you good? You're good with being alone?
I don't mind it. I mean, everything is up to you then, and that is it's easier, I think. My biggest worry with the whole thing was they didn't tell me where I was going, so I was like, please don't let there be fucking mosquitoes and jungle, because that would actually be the worst thing. I can go 21 days with no food, I can do that, but like getting eaten up by mosquitoes entire day for 21 days, that would suck. But no, rain, wind, fire, no food, whatever. I can take that.
That was tough on Jamie Wildman Frizzell, like his back. You know, he's got scars and stuff.
I heard.
He's like, that's the bug. It seems like everybody hates the bugs.
Yeah.
Like, what's a good takeaway from putting yourself through that?
So,
as extreme a thing you put yourself through.
So I've done a few things I already, like, throughout my life, I have done a few hard things. So I already kind of knew I kind of knew myself when it comes to, like, when push comes to shove, I think it's hard. But I guess the thing I took away from that is how much of the things in my daily life I do not need that I have gotten accustomed to, like that fucking coffee in the morning and coffee in the afternoon and coffee in the night and all the food types of food I eat and stuff like that. Don't need it. Don't need it. But it's so ingrained in your everyday life that you think you do. So for me, that was probably the biggest takeaway.
Items.
When it,
What are your top 3 survival items that you would absolutely would want to take wherever you went?
my top 3. So I would definitely have a knife, something sharp, and then something to start a fire, and then something to boil water, I guess.
You said you took your axe, so I'm assuming you took your axe instead of like a machete or something else. Was that problematic, or was that the right decision?
So I wish, not to out this show, but I wish this show was like, they told me to find like 3 or 5 different things, and then they chose for me. So they like this axe which I brought. It was actually their choice. So I actually wanted to bring something to start fire, because I didn't know where I was going to go, and fire is, kind of needed. I wanted that or something to boil water in, but they told me to bring the axe, so I did.
How much of the show is created, and how much of it really is just off the cuff?
Raw.
The hunger bit is real, and like the survival bit is real, but you do a lot of interviews and you do a lot of talking to camera, and if they're not happy with how you say things and how you how they want you to be on camera, they ask me like, "Oh, can you? It was good. You said this really well, but can you do it one more time with more energy, or one more time in this different way?" So there was a lot of that. So, and when you're really hungry and tired, you eventually you don't give a fuck, right? So you just do the way whatever they tell you. It's like this. They have this narrative in the show, so they want, since I was from Norway or something like that, they wanted me to bring this axe. So I'm not sure how I'm going to be portrayed, but I remember there was a lot of like yelling and with the axe, and I don't know. I'll see. It'll probably look pretty crazy, but it was fun. It was fun. I think our episode is going to be there's going to be a lot of crocodiles and some baboons, and then scorpion stings and fun stuff.
What do you want to do next?
So I am working on the things, actually. All the things I can think of, I am already working on, actually. So I'll just let you guys know when it's ready, and thanks for having me on.